my cue. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are really excited to kick off our first Trails Talk. My name is Amanda, and I work with Destination Door County. And in that role, I have the privilege and honor of working with Door County Trails and the amazing volunteers that make up that board. I'm going to introduce Susan Stauber, who is our board president. And then just if you're a board member, just raise your hand so everybody can know who you are and who's all involved here in the group. Great. For our online friends, thank you for joining us as well. I'm going to ask that if you have any questions about the presentation, please put those in the chat before I get to mention that so that we can include you as well. All right, so Door County Trails. For anybody who isn't familiar, we became a formal nonprofit last year, and it really brought together a couple of different trail efforts that were happening throughout the county to bring together all of these communities to really create a vision for a county-wide trail network so that you can travel up and down the peninsula without having to go on 57 and 42, and really have that trail system that can connect our communities, help our kids get to school, help workers get to work in a safe manner. So we really have this vision of this grand trail system. The truth is, though, is that this is not a new or unique idea. As we've been looking at what we want to build, we have been looking to learn from other communities that have these impressive trail systems. And so that is where we have been talking to people like Don, who we're very excited to have here today, to learn how they did it. Because we know it is very feasible to do something like that here in our community, and we are excited to see it happen. If you are excited about this vision too, I'll just put in a plug. We do have materials in the back, so grab those materials, visit our website at doorcountytrails.org, and learn more about what we're doing and how to support the effort. With that, though, I'm really excited to turn our presentation today over to Don. Don Weise, like ice, is how I'm trying to remember it, so I say it correctly. So we're really privileged to have Don here. So he works with the New Jersey Trail Conference, which is a 2,200-mile trail system that is a century old, or older than that maybe even. He will tell us all about it today, and what we're hoping to learn today is really what we can learn here in Door County to make our trail system happen. What are things they've learned? What are the things they've seen happen in their community because of the trail system? Don is an author, so he really is a subject matter expert in this area. So we're really excited to hear from him today, grateful that he has taken the time to come here and share his expertise with us. So with that, I will turn it over.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Thanks everybody for coming. Let's have some fun today. I look at this title where trails meet, communities thrive, and it really is true. But it also works in reverse because, just yesterday I was out with some of the members of Door County Trails, and we were hiking in a remote area on the north end of North Bay. And just kind of that collaboration, where communities meet, trails thrive too. So I think if we all are working together, we can learn from each other and just be better and successful. So without any further ado, just quickly by way of qualification, I work as the Director of Donor Advising for the New York-New Jersey Trail Conference. And like so many of the people here on the board, I'm also a volunteer. I maintain trails and write books and all kinds of different other things. Door County Trails has gotten to be a real passion for me because just the idea of having a bikeable, walkable network connecting not only parks but towns and communities, that's really exciting. Lots and lots of benefits. So I joined as a volunteer of this organization. Again, I write hiking guidebooks, lead hikes and trail runs in my home area, and I spend way too much time out in the woods. I'm a tree hugger. How many of you are tree huggers? All right, awesome. And so with that, just quickly about the organization I work for. The organization's been around for 105 years. We work in 270 different parks. We build, maintain, and protect a network of trail as well as the land that surrounds them, working with other land trusts, much like Door County Trails works with Door County Land Trust and other groups, and engage 2,000 people in that act of caring for trails and doing other things related to that. Trails are subject to a lot of different stresses that they weren't in the past. We know from here how intense the development pressure can be to build new houses and such. We also have issues like aging trails in our area. We have storm damage, extreme weather, and fire. You know, who thought that New York and New Jersey would have wildfires sweeping across the forests? But you know, all these things require a resilient organization with a strong volunteer base, and the parks really appreciate what trail organizations like Door County Trails do because they fill those labor gaps where you don't have a gazillion park employees the way they did in the past, perhaps. Geographically, this is where we work. We work in northwestern New Jersey, which is a remarkably, surprisingly wild area. It's where the clean water comes from for New York City and other places. And then up into upstate New York, places that might sound familiar to you, like the Catskills, Schwangunks, and up, we're building a long-distance trail to the Adirondacks as well. And so the big thing is that the trails connect. They connect to other trail systems. We'll talk more about that later. The organization also works to protect against native species, invasive species, because New York City, much like Milwaukee and Green Bay and Chicago, these are port cities. And so a lot of invasives are coming into the area. Many are already here and are too far gone for us to do anything about, but the ones that are emerging, we can still keep them out, especially in the parks and the nice wild areas where they're relatively uninvaded and where the carrying capacity for plants and animals is very high. So you can really make an impact in that way with things like spotted lanternfly, emerald ash borer, and other emerging invasives. So this organization started, as I said, in 1920. It began with a vision from a man named Benton Mackay, and his vision was to build a trail that began in Washington, D.C. and went up to the White Mountains of New Hampshire, but close to communities. And so there were many, many different tramping clubs, hiking groups that had arrived from Eastern Europe and different places, you know, Scandinavia as well. And they all were enjoying the land, but they wanted to build an organization that could build this trail out. And so they met in a trail shelter of all places, but not in the middle of the woods. It was in the middle of Midtown Manhattan on the top of the Abercrombie and Fitch building, which was a sporting goods store back then. And so they hatched this plan to build a trail across Harriman and Bear Mountain State Parks. That became the precursor to the Appalachian Trail, and so began the story. Nowadays, our organization cares for the Appalachian Trail across New York and New Jersey, as well as almost half our trails are long-distance trails. Long Path runs from New York City, heading up to the Adirondacks, and there are other long-distance trails, but they do connect to the bigger trail network. And really, you know, by informing the public through things like books and maps, you can see all the red lines here are trails, and connecting trails, you can, you know, you can really be successful as an organization. It's really all about connectivity, which is really what Door County Trails is doing. And there are huge benefits, both to tourism and to trail systems, in huge economic benefits for both. So if you look at the Door County 2024 Economic Impact Report, the tourism economy generated $650 million plus in economic activity. 3,500 jobs are related to tourism, and those businesses contribute over $53 million in state and local tax contributions. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That's big, and you can see it in the offset to resident taxes. Getting $3,700 off your tax bill is a welcome thing that I could certainly enjoy if we had that here over in New Jersey. The trail systems themselves benefit the tourism economy because people can get to work, they can get to school, seniors have a way to get to stores to buy things. Bikers are well known to spend money out on the trails because they need to eat, they need to drink, they need a place to stay. and kids are healthier and happier, and everyone is healthier, and that translates to healthcare savings, which is why Door County Medical is a sponsor of Door County Trails as well. And finally, when you have less traffic and less congestion, less gas, shorter commuter times, they're all part of having a trail system like that that's transportational in nature. So that's a little bit of a deeper dive on the same numbers that I just went over with you. Hi, welcome. Trails also, while trails will not drive up home values as a whole, they will help people who are very close to the trails. If you have a trail near your home, you probably are going to have a little easier time selling your house. And there's a lot of data to back that up, as you can see here. And then other soft community benefits of it. Only 5% of kids walk or bike to school in Door County right now. So a transportation trail network that helps people get to school, to work, and places like that is going to be really helpful. For working adults, you've got a lot of essential workers, single parents, the summer workers. I see people riding bikes on 42 and 57 trying to get to their jobs, and and then older Americans also may not drive anymore, but they can stay active and get to local businesses if they're near town. And of course, clean air is always a good thing for all of us. Any questions so far? All right. So now let's get down to it. What I find with the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference is that we've never had anybody say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that we allowed this trail to go, near our property," or that we did a conservation easement to permit a trail to come through our land. But on the front end, where you're looking at it and it's an unknown, and that there is a certain amount of fear. Well, is it going to impact? Is somebody going to break into my house or something like that? And so, just for a second, let's pretend that instead of a bunch of tree huggers here, we are a convention of burglars, and we are trying to be the best burglars we can be. That's why we're here. Okay. So there's a couple things that we really want to do. The first thing is we want it nice and quiet. We don't want anybody, no witnesses, right? Okay. A bike trail is a terrible place for that because Mrs. Liss, she watches everything that's going on in her neighborhood. She's going to be the first to pick up the phone if she sees anything funny. The second thing you need is you need a good getaway vehicle, right? It has to be big, like a van, and it should be pretty fast. A bike is a terrible way to do that. You can't carry as much. The cops are gonna catch you. It's just not good. But seriously, there are a lot of studies that really show that crime is actually decreased a little bit in most cases by having a trail network in your neighborhood, because community vigilance, they promote a greater sense of community and belonging and people talking to each other, which we need more of these days. So what Door County Trails is about is transportation trails. And just to go through what the difference is, if you go to Peninsula State Park or if you go to a Door County Land Trust, you're going to be enjoying recreational trails. They're designed to help you connect with nature. They may be rugged. They're great for hiking. They don't go to restaurants. They don't go to workplaces. They're for fun. Transportation trails are ones that connect, let's say, one beach to another in Egg Harbor, that connect Egg Harbor to Fish Creek and so forth. They are good for commuting. They're smooth. They're in many cases ADA compliant, so you can not only take a wheelchair on them, you can push a stroller on them, or if you're somewhat mobility impaired, you can use these trails, whereas recreation trails may not work for you. So in any case, it's just, can change your whole outlook. If you ever had the opportunity to ride a bike to work, it really is a wonderful thing. So just a little bit about Door County Trails. I think you've already mentioned a lot of this, but it's a volunteer-powered organization, 501c3 nonprofit, trying to connect up the community, essentially up the bayside and down the lakeside eventually, long process. But we want to create these multi-use trails, strengthen the bonds between towns and villages, and make walking and biking safer for everybody, protect the environment, encourage healthy lifestyles, and make Door County a year-round recreation hub for trail activities. Now, some of the projects that are going on right now, the Beach to Beach Trail connecting Murphy Park to Egg Harbor Beach, that's already underway right now, and it will include an interpretive trail talking about the Niagara Escarpment, and it will also highlight some of the historic natural features of Horseshoe Bay Cave, which is a really cool area. Anybody ever been there or heard of it before?
Heard of it.
Yeah. I know my aunt and uncle used to live near there. And then the feasibility study is really ultra important because it's going to help plot out what's ahead. Where could the trail go? For instance, where does the town already own property? Just as an example of that, if you know where the settlement shops are on 42 before you get up to Fish Creek, back in that area is a new town park, and there's a way that you can connect from there down to Fish Creek close to Peninsula State Park. And that's really a wonderful thing. It's still in process, but it goes through the old Peninsula Players lands, and it avoids that dangerous hill going down into Fish Creek and all the madness and mayhem when by Pelletier's Fish Boil restaurant. So you can still get to all the businesses, but without the madness and mayhem and danger of that. So that's a great example of a property where it did not have to cut through a landowner's property to be successful. So talk a little bit about what we can learn from other trail systems. I'm going to talk about a transportation trail here called the Empire State Trail. Has anyone ever heard of that? Okay. Essentially what this trail does, it's a transportation trail. It's ADA accessible. It goes from New York City all the way up to Albany, all the way up to Quebec, through the Adirondacks and so forth. And it also goes all the way out to Niagara Falls and Ontario. So it's 750 miles, and it's the longest one-state trail, multi-use trail in the country. It was built for the same reasons: build tourism, build economic growth, connect lots and lots of communities, and preserve and showcase the natural heritage of New York. So there's a lot of really old history in that area. And of course, making the outdoors accessible to everybody. Now, it came with a hefty price tag. 750 miles of beautiful trail cost $263 million to build, but it paid for itself in the first year, which is incredible. It also employed a lot of people, and it continues to employ people because a lot of upstate New York's ne'er-do-well towns have started to thrive because people are finding out about them and visiting them and riding bikes through them and then going home, which is the best kind of tourism of all. Same thing.
Does it cost to ride on it?
Beg pardon?
Does it cost to ride on it?
No, it's free.
How do they raise that much money in 1 year then?
Through economic activity. Everybody coming, frequenting the restaurants, staying overnight,
I see.
yeah, and other activity.
Part of that on the Croton Aqueduct.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
My daughter lives in Hastings, and that's
yeah. They have an amazing network to begin with, and that just adds to it. Yeah. So anyway, lots of different benefits to the Empire Trail, including beautiful views. This is looking out across Lake Champlain. It's called the Sixth Great Lake, and looking across into Vermont. So there were certainly some challenges to be faced there. Funding was the big one. It took a lot of grants, a lot of state and federal grants to get it done, but it also took sponsorships from local businesses to get it done, and private donations were absolutely key to that process. Also, making it wheelchair accessible poses costs and challenges to make it so that you can get wheels from your car onto the trail and back again. And then a lot of environmental and cultural considerations that there may be a little bit less of here, just because the New York is so old. in terms of when it was settled. And then construction, of course. There were 180 different off-road trail projects going on at the same time to build this thing. And it went pretty fast. But what it's done, besides the economic activity that it itself generated, it started to spur other projects that connect to the Empire Trail. So there's a beautiful town called Cold Spring at the bottom of Breakneck Ridge, and looking across to Storm King Mountain on the Hudson River. Okay, and Cold Spring is an incredible destination for people because they can take a train to get to it, and they can do the incredible climb up Breakneck Ridge, which is unbelievably steep. I'll just take my word for it. It's it's pretty wild. And but tons and tons of people were coming and didn't really have a place to go, so they were trying to climb Breakneck Ridge in flip-flops and so forth, and it wasn't working out. Also, there was a town called Beacon farther north that wasn't doing as well. So the Hudson Highlands Fjord Trail is being built to connect up those areas, to give people a safer and more accessible way to enjoy the trails and to frequent both towns. So it's kind of amazing to see how it happens over time. I've been working for the Trail Conference for 14 and a half years, and I've been involved since the late 80s. And just to see projects that, like this one, that are just hatching, and you have to be patient, but they come to fruition, and when they do, wow, it's amazing. All right, so let's go back to Door County for a second. Some of the key factors to success for Door County is what Door County Trails is doing right now. You've got to have a clear vision, supporting tourism, all the things that we just talked about, and Door County is doing that. They know where the trail is supposed to go, roughly, and what it's supposed to accomplish. Planning and feasibility studies are also key. Door County Trails is doing that as well, to find out where the speed bumps are, where the hurdles are, to get that trail through to where it needs to go. In addition, the community needs to be engaged. So thank you, community, for coming out and hearing about Door County Trails, getting input from the people. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? What are your concerns? What are your ideas? What haven't we thought of that you know more about because you live near where the trail may go? And then finally, fundraising. That's the essential element, and Door County Trails has been very good about applying for multiple different grants. You have a lot in the works right now. Some have been awarded and some yet to be. Also with engaging sponsors, local business owners who see the benefit to the trail and want to be associated with it. But then really the final element is private donations. People like us who care enough to want to support this effort. And that is not just, it's so much more than the dollar value of my little donation to Door County Trails, okay? What it is it's telling my friends that I'm behind this project. And more importantly, it's even telling grant makers, grantors, that this is a project that the community cares about. And in fact, many of the grants require matching donations. So it's absolutely essential that we as individuals support the project if it's going to succeed. So that was part one of the talk. And after this, we're going to get into some really cool, less traveled trails. And I want to see which ones you know about and which ones I haven't thought of. But let's hear your thoughts and questions for Amanda or for any of us here about the project that we just talked about. Carl.
What do you think some of the next steps for Door County Trails and Door County residents to make this really grow and blossom? Obviously, funding is important and it helps create more funds, but as somebody who's just moving here, had a long history here, but moving here for good now, what steps should I take or we should take?
Okay, so Carl just asked what steps should be taken, what steps can the public take in order to get involved to ensure success. I'm just going to repeat it back for the Zoom audience. And in addition to supporting financially, Becoming involved as a volunteer is really key. A lot of people in this room have been essential in helping to promote the idea to the public. So being that megaphone to amplify the message so that more people hear about it and get involved. And then volunteer power. So the Trail Conference, when it was formed 105 years ago, it was all crazy trail tramper volunteers, who made it happen. And that's exactly where Door County Trails is right now. They really don't have a staff like many of the well-established land trusts and sanctuaries do yet. So it's volunteers that are going to get this baby off the ground. And so that's my answer. I think you went up first.
Hi. A biker, bike a lot in the county because from Chicago this is like actually for me beautiful area to bike. But again, like yesterday, crossing over any of the highways, we're like, we're just not going to do it because it obviously doesn't feel safe this time of year. But have you connected with? I follow a lot of bike groups, Bike Wisconsin. Connect with those other organizations that also have ways to find grant money?
Great question. I'm going to repeat it and then I'll let Amanda answer the question. So the question is, has Door County Trails connected with other similar biking groups across Wisconsin to seek ideas and funding ideas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just step to the side, as I was told this was best for the sound. So a couple things. So yes, we actually do work closely with the Wisconsin Bike Federation, and we work with any group we can find that is in alignment with building trails. So we certainly are reaching out. Again, as I mentioned, Don is here, part of that outreach that we are looking to learn from other groups, to partner with other groups. So we're looking for all of those ideas. If you have other ideas and suggestions, please let us know, but we do work closely with a lot of those groups now. I did want to back up quickly back to the question about what can you do if you're out here listening and you want to help and support beyond just financial dollars. We are going to be kicking off a project, so you're kind of getting the inside information shortly, to create a strategic master plan, which would really kind of try and outline what will this trail look like, where will it go. It won't be the definitive answer because some of that needs feasibility studies and some of the things we talked about, but it will give something on paper to show really what we want this system to look like. And as we're kicking that off, we'll need the community involved to give input and their thoughts on this trail system. And then once we have this, it will really be imperative that people are reaching out to their elected officials in their communities to get this as part of their comprehensive plans and to get them on board to support their part of the trail, their segments that will come through their communities, because it will really be the municipalities that have to apply for grants and have to use their resources to help us get these trails in. So having that support in the community, having people talking to their elected officials will be really crucial as well.
And it's doorcountytrails.org to stay connected in with what the organization is doing. So you had a question.
Well, maybe not a question, but I'm past the biking age, right? But a lot of my friends and people I know love to come up here and bike the back roads of Door County. And while I understand this is going to connect communities more, but this would be an enhancement to that. I mean, there's some very, very much natural beauty just on the back roads, and you're not really at risk so much on those. So this is just more of an enhancement to it, or alternative?
Okay, great. Thanks for the question, and I'll repeat it. The question was, there are tons of beautiful back roads to explore on bike as well, and question is, will the Door County's Trails project be an enhancement to that? And the answer is absolutely, yeah. And the goal is to move the biking trail network entirely off roads. But as I noted, when the Appalachian Trail was first built, it was it was half on roads and handshake agreement to go through Joe's farm, and it's an evolutionary process. So a lot of times it looks like a wide shoulder or a biking path alongside a not so busy road. And then ultimately it can become something that goes through the woods but connects up to a town. So, next question, yes.
Will it include bikes, e-bikes, people walking a dog? I mean, what kind of uses for people and their choices would be allowed?
Okay, great. Question, what kind of uses would be allowed on the trails? So the short answer to that is yes to dog walking, yes to pushing strollers on the trail, yes to running on the trail, walking on the trail, biking on the trail. In New York, e-bikes are permitted, but they're only permitted up to a certain, for lack of a better word, horsepower, to ensure that they're not moving too fast. But that's essentially what we're looking at.
Cross-country skiing and snowshoeing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's up to each municipality, whether or not they plow.
Ah, yes, okay. So whether or not it's plowed determines whether it's going to be more of a skiing situation or more of a walking situation. Sir?
Are you going to address the maintenance, the long-term maintenance of the trails as well?
Long-term maintenance, that's another question is about how will maintenance be handled of the trails, because you can build it, but then you have to maintain it. So the keys are, one, good, smart, sustainable design from the get-go. So you build a trail that's somewhat bulletproof to all these storms and other, hazards that affect the trails. Good building technique is key. One of the nice things about transportation trails is they don't exceed a 5% grade, and sometimes they're less than that. So water is the enemy of the trail, and fast-moving water is the arch enemy of the trail, right? So, so by limiting the grade on it, you prevent a lot of maintenance from having to happen. But maintenance is key, and that's where also volunteers come through and grants also come through. There are grants for trail maintenance. But yeah, that will be an ongoing thing.
And I would say it's also, again, part of why we formed a nonprofit to help write those grants and raise money for maintenance and that sustainable piece of it.
That's why why you raise money for it. Any other questions at this point? Sir?
I know the focus is northern Door. Is there any activity going on in southern Door County, the Door County trails?
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, get back up here.
The question, state the question.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah. Yeah, so ideally, again, this would be a county-wide trail system. So as many of you know, we have the Anape Trail, which ties into the Ice Age Trail. And I think ideally our system would connect down into Sturgeon Bay and into that Anape connection, ideally. So again, some of that takes time and planning to see how that can really be done. But ideally, this would be a county-wide system that would touch the entire county.
Thanks. Dangerous wires here. But yeah, that's really exciting to see the Ice Age Trail and the Anape Trail potentially connecting up. It's going to take some patience. It's going to take a lot of work and patience to get it done. It feels like Egg Harbor and Fish Creek are great places to start because they're sort of the paths of least resistance where people can really benefit from not having as many vehicles on the road and having the bikers be safer and protected from all these crazy New Jersey tourists that are coming here. So, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Would this be at all similar to Lake Geneva? How it's really close to the water and it's on most people's edge of their home properties? Or would it be more of an inland thing?
Is it going to be more of a waterfront trail or more of an inland trail? And I think the answer is that it depends. It kind of depends.
Municipality to municipality.
That's why you do feasibility studies to figure that out, right? Okay. Because you can't necessarily just say you have to do the studies to figure out how will that meet certain laws, regulations you have to follow, and grant requirements, all of that depending on where the trail is going. So that's why it's really up to the municipality. Much of this is up to the municipality, and a lot of it just depends on the engineering and those feasibility studies to determine where it's going.
And also Lake Geneva is just walking, right?
True.
Sometimes it's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
right, yes, it's not
Yeah,
really.
that's not a bike trail.
Yeah,
That's just the first thing that came to my mind.
Right,
was
yeah.
that sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so essentially it's determining where the trail is going to go is up to the municipalities and is up to where it can go, where there's permission and so forth. Yes.
I'm wondering, we've had some wonderful trips in Europe and England. England was a walking trip, the walk through the Lake District, where private companies will engage in carting your stuff from one place where you spend the night to the next. And then we had biking tours along the Danube, nice and flat. And a private company would promote, and certainly that would be attractive for tourism and so on. But would that ever be a long-range thing, connect with, to utilize the trails once they're there, that and promote usage, but also spending a lot of money?
Yeah, so your question was, as you've seen in Europe, in the UK and Austria and places like that, along rivers, that businesses have popped up to help with what they call slack packing, basically allowing you to ride your bike from one area to the next and have your luggage waiting for you when you arrive, kind of thing, or a van that can help. They even have vans that will help you up the biggest hills. In Vermont, that's a huge thing. So you can say, yeah, I'm going to do all 35 miles today, or you can say, yeah, I'm going to skip every hill, just the downhills. Thank you very much. And so it allows a lot more people to have fun together, and that's just one of those great economic drivers that can come from the trail. All right. Yes, ma'am.
I'm one of these directionally impaired people, and I think of this and oh, that'd be great, but I could see myself getting lost. Is there always efforts to have it very well signed so that people don't easily get turned around?
Question is what efforts are being made to ensure that people don't get lost on the trails, and what kind of signage is envisioned? Absolutely, yeah. Signage is so key, and I know Amanda has spoken about signage along the trails. Yeah, it'll be much easier to navigate than on recreation trails. It should be and also it's a wide, straight, flat path, so it becomes very intuitive, even without the signage, as to where the trail is going to go. But signage is important too. All right, any other questions? All right, well, we're going to get to a little bit of a fun part here. How many of you identify as hikers? All right, look at that. Okay, so the goal of this part of the talk is to talk about less traveled trails. There are lots of great big parks, Peninsula State Park, super popular park, great trails and so forth. But there's also so many places to explore, at least 75, okay, the destinations in this county alone that are worth checking out. And it's great. I've been up here this long weekend, and other than having to go through Sister Bay and Fish Creek and Egg Harbor, I've hardly seen anybody because I've been out on the trail finding new places. I'm still finding new places. So we hike less traveled trails because you see fewer people. You see more plants and animals. Also, it's good to spread out our impact as this county just gets more and more popular, to reduce erosion on popular trails. Underutilized trail networks, like some of the places we'll talk about, they could really use our feet to establish a treadway and make it clearer where the signage is not as great as what you were talking about. And also to deter landowner encroachment on parks or dangerous uses of the trail and so forth. I don't see much of that here, but boy, we do see a lot of that by me, ATVs in particular, ripping up the trails. And we had 2 fires, and they both wildfires happened in places where I know there's a ton of ATV traffic and partying going on. Nothing against the ATVs, but you've got to stick with the law. So less traveled trails help in a number of different ways. These were chosen by being away from major highways so that they won't suddenly become ultra tourist destinations, ones that have enough places to park and that are scenic and worth visiting. So as I run through these, just to be conscious of time, if you see something that's interesting to you, take out your phone, do take a picture of any slides. It has the addresses on them and so forth. So let's do it. So I'm going to start with some places where you think, oh, I know that place, but I didn't know it was a hiking area. So we'll start with Björklanden. How many of you have been to Björklanden or the Shakespeare Theater? Okay, quite a few of you. This also has a wonderful 3.1 mile loop you can do, a 5K loop plus some other trails that'll take you to some amazing stuff. Great white cedar coniferous forests, a good section with lake views, the Stavkirk, the chapel over there, mini Stavkirk, has a lot to see in there. Lots of fracture caves and sinkholes, a grotto, wind turbine, even an old quarry in there. And so it's off of Chapel Lane, which is off Boynton Lane, which is off Route 57 near the golf course, Maxwelton Braes. I think it's still called Maxwelton Braes, south of Egg Harbor, or of Bailey's Harbor. So there's a couple of views of the grotto, the Björklanden sign with the happy Scandinavian dancers, and the lake views that are just stunning. All right, the next one, one of our friend, the Soul Sisters hiking queen, Tanya Crowell, she also is involved with Right on Door County. So that's on off Route 42 near the, what's the name of the orchard? The gallery. Edgewood Gallery, yeah. So it extends, you could actually park at Edgewood Gallery, make sure you're not going to get back after they close at 5 p.m., but you can start there, or you can start further south at Juddville Road in Fish Creek. And that's another 5K, 3.1 mile trail. Beautiful, it has 3 scenic loops, super well marked, very manicured, and just a lot of pretty stuff to see along that loop. Do check it out. They have all kinds of interesting things, a giant white birch, Norbert's his workshop and so forth. Really cool place to check out. Norbert was the guy who owned the property beforehand. Has anybody been to the Clearing Folk School and hiked the trails? This is a good one. This may be my favorite of this trip. So the Clearing Folk School, if you go up to Ellison Bay and then you hang a left on Garrett Bay Road, it's only about 4/10 of a mile on your left. It's fully reopened to the public starting November 1st, but they've got you can go on Saturdays and Sundays, you can even do a docent tour on Saturdays, but it says 2+ miles of trails, it's more like 3 or 4 miles of trails. Plus you can walk that line where all the buildings are is just spectacularly beautiful. And it has a cliff house. It has just so much to see there, Danish-inspired buildings and so forth. And an excellent, excellent view of the Ellison Bluff from there. So that's the Council Ring on the left-hand side, looking out at Ellison Bluff, and just some amazing meadows. This is interior meadow, I believe, with all the fall color and the birch trees. So check that one out. Another one, you've probably all seen the signs for the rushes in the past, right? You know the rushes?
Yeah.
Okay, close to Kangaroo Lake. Okay, so not too long ago, they set aside 100 of the 160 acres for trails. And they put together an incredible network of trails, including a boardwalk that goes out to a marsh overlook. You'll see cranes there, you'll see all kinds of wildlife. And it's also one of those, if for you runners out there, it's a very runnable trail system. It also is very close to Wasita Farm, which I'll talk about in future talks. That's also a cool place, not enough time to talk about that one. And Meridian Park, that's the one on 57 where the 45th parallel is. So this is a little bit of what it looks like. The way you get to it is if 57, if the bridge weren't out on 57, you'd go through Jacksonport North and then bear left on Lagerquist Lane, and it'll be on the right-hand side. And it's open to the public, so really great. One spot that's not open to the public, but really underscores the culture of conservation in Door County is Marshall's Point. So that's on the north end of North Bay. It's a 1,000-acre community. It's dedicated to preservation. You have to be invited to go there. I don't see any of the people who have the permissions here, but it just underscores the idea that you can have a boreal forest with great plant diversity that's reindeer-like in here, and have it be natural. And it's going to be natural forever. That's a beautiful thing. All right. Now, if you do want to go to a place that has an incredible boreal forest where you are allowed to go, I definitely recommend Waltz Woods. So to get there, you want to take County Q, okay, like you're going to Cana Island, and you want to look for Goodnow Road, take it to the end, and you'll find a sign on the right for Door County Land Trust for Waltz Woods Natural Area. I'm going to tell you, you need a little bit of wood sense on this. It is marked, but the markings, markings are a little sketchy. Good news, it's only 3/4 of a mile long, so you can't get too lost there, and there's water to, shoulder you on one side. It has incredible fracture caves, lake views, rock formations, and it's so great, I recommend hiking it in both directions because you'll get a little more hike in and see some beauty. And once you get to know where the trails turn, it'll be your friend for life. So, and just really a beautiful boreal forest, which is so different and unique. This is one of the steeper little scrambly sections on the left-hand side, and then the view looking out where you can see Gordon Lodge and you can see across to that forbidden neighborhood I was just telling you about before.
Is that Ellison Bay?
It actually is considered Bailey's Harbor.
Oh,
It's way north of Bailey's Harbor, north and east, but I'll give you that address again. It's 1499 Goodnow Road, Bailey's Harbor. Yeah, you're going to love it, but look sharp when you're there because the next blaze may not be apparent. Talk about one park, one of the big parks, Newport State Park. I can't say enough about the Lind Point Trail. The Lind Point Trail goes out, that's this one right here, and you can combine it with the Fern Trail. It's, less than 4 miles or about 4 miles to do the loop here, but it'll take you to some incredible rock formations, lots of lake views, and then this great boardwalk over the ferns. And I really appreciate the boardwalk because we used to walk through that swampy fern trail and be eaten alive by mosquitoes. Not only does it keep your feet dry, but the mosquitoes haven't figured out yet that we're up above them. So go figure. And those are just some of the pictures that you'll see from there. Incredible. All right, and we're getting down to the end here. Logan Creek, that's near Jacksonport. Somebody was asking about Jacksonport area. Near the old Mr. G's off of 57 is Loritz Road. It's right near County I. You make a right on Loritz if you're going north on 57, and it's about a 1/4 mile down on your left. They've just expanded this trail network. So if has anybody ever been to Logan Creek? Okay. So fairly recently they expanded it, and this, the red dotted loop at the top of the image, of the map image, that's the new creek trail. And it takes you all along. You get great views of this wild looking creek and over boardwalks into observation areas.
That's not part of the land trust?
That is actually part of the Ridges Sanctuary. So the Ridges has their main campus, Apples Bluff, and then this one. And they do ask for a $5 donation. It's totally voluntary, but they have a box there. Well worth it. And you can get about 4 miles of hiking in on this, or you can get about 1 mile of hiking in on it. It's up to you because of the loops. So highly recommend this 5724 Loritz Road, Sturgeon Bay. And that's just another look, if you look how wild that looks on the creek. All right, and I'm going to close with 3 short ones for Southern Door, okay? Sturgeon Bay Ship Canal, a lot of people know that. You can get to it off Lake Lane. It has that beautiful lighthouse, has a wonderful sandy beach, and it also has ridges and swales, just like the Ridges Sanctuary. So if you're willing to do a few miles of walking, you can see quite a lot in a short distance. The other one is Legacy Preserve at Clay Banks, and that's off Lake Michigan Drive. That's a bit south of there, and it's got clay bluffs. It's got an excellent high view looking out at the water, and different loops you can do, undeveloped shoreline. And then the new one that was just announced these are all Door County Land Trust preserves, is Bear Creek Nature Preserve. That's off Shiloh Road, getting down between Sturgeon Bay and Algoma. And you can do about 6/10 of a mile there. It's okay right now, but it's going to get a lot better. I was there, and a volunteer, talking about volunteers, was saying, hey, you know, if you cut in through here, cut through the woods, you're going to come to this beautiful bridge, and it takes you to the other side of the preserve, and there are going to be more than twice as many trails in the future. So keep that on your future radar, Bear Creek off Shiloh Road. So I hope that gave you a little taste of just some of the many, many places there are to explore here. And I hope to come back and talk to you again, possibly remotely, in January or that time frame, about many more. And this is just a look at some of the other places that we'll be talking about in future chats.
Wasita's going to have trails?
Wasita does have trails, yeah. I think the farm owner is going to be here at 5:30. Yeah, if you go to Wasita Farms, go buy some jam and then ask them where the yellow trail leads to. And it takes you out to a beautiful cross. There's a cross on a hill. All kinds of cool little things to see in there. They have a weird statue of the lady of the Bountiful Harvest there, which is kind of an unusual statue. Yeah. So, thank you again. I mean, just imagine, however, if we had a transportation trail network that could be connecting up all these amazing parks, right, and all these natural areas. That's really what Door County Trails is about, is connecting up the towns, the villages, and these incredible natural areas. So, again, thank you for your time, and if you have any further questions, please ask away.
I have a question. I have two questions. Which was your favorite new, because I know you discovered some new trails this weekend, which was your favorite new trail, and which is your favorite old trail when you had previously?
Ooh, yeah. I have to say that you know, it's not new to Door County, but it was new to me, was actually getting into the Clearing Folk School, because I was always going and they were saying, oh yeah, you have to be here on Saturday and Sunday. It's an incredible combination of natural beauty and this Danish designed community that they built, and also the views, the clifftop views of the water and the cliff house. So so that's a good one. And then, you know, favorite old park, I'd say Newport. You know, Newport is one of those places, it feels as wild as Rock Island, but you don't have to take 2 ferries to get to it. And you know, the north end is a world in itself. The south end has a waterfront area, and just, yeah, there's so much. There are a lot of trails to go crazy on there. Sure.
That's where Lynn Park was that you mentioned?
Yeah, Lind Point Trail is in Newport State Park. Just yeah, go up toward Gills Rock and keep going past Ellison Bay, but just before you get to Gills Rock, and County NP will take you straight to the park.
There's some great primitive camping sites there too along the trail.
Have you camped there?
Not yet.
Awesome. Does that?
Newport, is that what you said?
Newport State Park.
Yeah, that one I got down, but
Oh.
I thought you were talking about that section of it.
Yeah, Lyndt Point Trail, which connects up to the Fern Trail to make a very nice loop.
Gotcha, thank you.
Hi.
This is probably for Amanda. Are there groups, like group hiking tours or groups that hike together? Because I went with my kids one time and all we did was our head was down and we went straight forward as fast as we could. And I said, don't we stop and look at things? And they said, no, keep going.
Sound purposes here. So a couple things. I mean, I know a lot of the state parks actually do have naturalists. So if you're looking at some of the state park hikes, they will do naturalist-led hikes. So that's something you can look for. The friends groups or the state park social media or websites generally have calendars listing when those are. There are also a lot of groups, and we actually have some members involved with Door County Trails, either on our board or through our committees. So Tanya, who I know Don had hiked with, leads a women's hiking group where they can go out together and hike, and she identifies different areas to go hike. So there are different groups in the area.
Soul Sisters.
Soul Sisters,
Yep.
it's called? Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure the name, I just know Tanya does that. So there are definitely are groups that lead hikes. Again, the parks do have naturalists that lead hikes, so there definitely is some of that going on. But that's always room for potential, where in the future, especially if we have a trail system up here, that those kinds of things can grow to do that.
Thanks. All right, any final questions before we close up? Thank you so much, and please come back and get more information at the back table and some snacks, I think. Thank you.